Wow. Harry Carey, Steve Stone, Jack Buck. Man, oh man, those are some of the voices that narrated my youth. And how about it? We are the voices narrating your adulthood. Coach Chop, Coach Flikke, Coach Ballgame, episode 109 of the Talk and Shop podcast. We actually have a guest today. That's a tease. It's Coach Allie Gator, who's the girls' lead of Coach Ballgame Inc. She runs all the girls' baseball, girls' softball camps, and she's just one of the best. Met her with
Holy
MLB.
cow.
Holy cow. She's one of the best indeed, and I'm excited that she can bring a voice for the young ladies, not just in softball but baseball. But rocking and rolling there. She'll be on in a few minutes to help us answer your questions. Chopper, how you feeling there in Arizona, my brother?
Feeling great. It was 82 degrees yesterday, sunny, and that was a nice change of pace. It was about 67 degrees in the evening, hitting in the cage with the boys, and felt right. It has been cold relative to Arizona, so I don't want to overstate that because we're gonna about to go to Flick Money, and he's got a different story to tell on the weather, but pretty good right now in Arizona.
Juxtapose Flick Money. How we doing in Seattle, Washington?
Coach, high today of 34, low of 22. We got ice everywhere. We got snow on the trees. It's a winter wonderland if you like winter wonderlands. Otherwise, it is bone-chillingly cold. I'm rocking my Dick's Drive-In, which is the best local old school hamburger joint in town. There's two of them, and just to try to stay warm, Coach. It's not baseball weather. This is the kind of weather that can shatter a Black Magic Easton in your hands if you get jammed and the guy throws hard enough. You know, it'll just whoosh, shatter into pieces. I might have
Ouchie.
dated myself there.
Hey, well, I love dates. I know today's date is January the Februaryth, and it's
37.
February 4, and it happens to be the 100th day of my daughter Aubrey's school. So they all dressed up as 100-year-old grandma and grandpas. And man, oh man, I'll post on my socials that Aubrey James, 7 years old, but she's got a personality, and she dressed up like Granny from Beverly Hillbillies. I'm now dating myself, but I'm ready to rock. I will say this: we do have a webinar Monday. That's like in 6 days. Me, Chop, Flicky. It's free, and we're talking about the dark side of youth sports. How do things get toxic in youth sports? Well, anxiety, anger, nerves, and a lot of that stems from the parents. So we're excited to shine a light on it instead of sweep it under the rug and talk about how to fix it. But with that just a few days away, 6 p.m. Pacific, that's California time. You can sign up on my website, coachballgame.com. But Flick Money, we'll start with you. What causes the toxicity in youth sports? Where does the dark side come from, in your opinion?
Yeah, it's the unlived life of the parents, the unmet dreams of the coaches, and we project all of that material onto our young ones, adding pressure. And then there's also just a lot of poor coping skills for dealing with emotions. Like just how do we deal with when we get these feelings up in our body? And so for so many people, it's just up and out at somebody else. You know, there's just no filtration. So we're going to talk about some ways we can deal with that, manage that with the on the adult side, ways we can help our children manage it. And this is not we're not talking participation trophies and everyone gets a feather in their cap when it's over. We're talking about how to get kids to play hard, how to peak perform, how to enjoy themselves, fall in love with the game, and keep this thing rolling. So it's important.
Yeah, just we don't realize it sometimes, but we are putting all of our insecurities on display at youth sports events, and the kids feel it all. Chopper, in your opinion, the dark side of youth sports rears its ugly head. Why?
Yeah, I think Flick hit it on the head. I had a one-on-one this last week with Coach Ron, and we were talking about this. And basically, he reached out to try to be a little bit more competitive to combat parents because the parents weren't happy with the wins. And so, encouraged him and encouraged our listeners, don't fall into that trap. If you're trying to please a parent who's trying to get more wins, it's a losing battle for us as coaches. And so, prioritizing character, that's the win. Staying away from that trap of parents want the Instagram post, right? Of, oh, the kids won the ring or the banner, all that stuff. It's a losing battle as coaches. And so just to kind of reinforce, do what's right, have the right standards, the right priorities, and you'll attract the right families.
Yep. I'm excited to just unpack it. Coach Queso has dialed in a great outline and slide deck for us. So Monday night, 6 o'clock, and tell everybody especially that parent that clings to the fence, micromanages, is overbearing, makes the car ride miserable. Jump in on that. Guys, we got a guest. Coach Flikke knows her very well. They've run some camps together in California here. I'm surprised, Chopper, that you haven't rubbed shoulders with Coach Allie Gator, Coach Allie Lacey, as she's done some work with the Dodgers, as we know you have as well, Chopper. Snaps, listener for Coach Allie Gator. Allie, how you doing?
I'm doing great. It's a wonderful morning here in SoCal, so I can't complain.
Atta girl, we find you in the greater Los Angeles area, but I mean, the first thing I noticed about you coaching with you at an MLB event for play ball was you sound almost Midwestern. Where were you born? Give us a little peek into the life of Coach Allie Gator, who is now, folks, the girls lead for Coach Ballgame world. If there's a girls' camp, whether that's baseball, softball, or pickleball, or Pictionary, she's the lead. She's the best I've seen. But yeah, where'd you come from, Coach?
Yeah, so that Midwestern twang is probably a little bit of the country music that I like to listen to, but I was
Yeehaw.
born in Iowa. I was actually adopted at birth and brought to Southern California. So I was raised by a wonderful single mom, and she just allowed me to play sports all the time. I mean, she worked her butt off in the court system, and me and my brother, any type of sport other than pickleball, because that wasn't around back then for us, we were able to do, and it was really cool. So that Midwestern twang, country music, Iowa, close to the field of dreams, but haven't been back there yet. So hoping I can get there.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Well, first thing I noticed on the field, other than your accent when I saw you coach, is this energy you bring. It's pretty effortless, but it commands the kids. Where does that energy come from, Alligator?
I think all of that comes from my time growing up as a kid. Like when I think of the coaches I had growing up, they were always inspiring. I can't remember a coach that completely just flat out yelled at me for something at practice. It was a, hey, Allie, get on over here. So I'd scoot my butt over to coach and we'd have a face-to-face conversation. And I got my butt back out on the field and got back to work. And it was supportive. It was constructive criticism and it was positive. And that's what I try and give back to anyone that I come in contact with coaching wise is positivity on the field because fundamentals can't be spelled without fun.
No doubt. Oh, hello, hello, Flick Money. You and Coach Alligator ran a camp while I was doing something. I don't know if I was in London or somewhere, but what did you notice about this awesome coach when you met her in California?
Uh, Similar to you, Coach, when I first met you, Allie's got the energy of at least 13 human beings, which is really helpful when you're working with young people. And she's an others-centered person. She genuinely cares about young people. So when you have that energy and you've got that depth of care, that heart, and I'm also on team adopted Coach Allie, so I feel like there's something there that kind of paying it forward for the folks that put into you and gave us opportunities. It's just obvious, Coach. She's an absolute gem and a credit to the coaching to our biz.
Yeah, I'm super picky when it comes to coaches, and we looked long and hard. And when I found Coach Allie, I said, "Well, that's a great coach, and she's going to change lives." You're not just in the softball world. You are an advocate of girls baseball, which I love. So tell the listener, tell us what you're up to in the softball world, but also in the baseball world right now.
Yeah, so I played my college career at Pasadena City College 2 years and then transferred to Cal State Northridge. I played for Natasha Watley, Lovey Jung, Tariah Flowers, Caitlin Bainey. They're Olympians, All-Americans, people I looked up to when I was playing the game. I got a chance to go back to PCC and coach. And then I started working for the Dodgers on field as a ball girl. And being in that position, I started realizing there was a lot of girls in the stands that would tell their parents, "See, mom, there's a girl out there. I can play baseball." And when I'd give the girl a ball, they'd just be so excited. And I remember that feeling as a kid going to games like, man, I hope I can catch this foul ball. And I never got one. But the reactions that I get when being able to give one out, it's life changing. It's heartwarming. So that got me into girls baseball, and I started an organization called Ball Girls. We travel around the country, hoping to expand that around the world to play baseball. And some of these girls play softball as well. But the difference on the field for baseball when they're with their girls, there's like that chip on their shoulder, that little underdog feeling, and they can all come together as individuals and feel normal. They feel accepted because they're the same people that just want to play ball on the field. So it's been really exciting getting those girls from Cooperstown, New York to Branson, Missouri, hoping to get Disney, Florida this year. We're always in SoCal and Arizona. So it's been life changing to say the least.
Amazing, amazing. And Allie has hooked me up with her boots in Branson, Missouri, and we're going to bring the sandlot there in the fall. So look out for a Midwest swing. Um, Alligator, you change a lot of lives on the ball field, as do Chaparooski, Flick Money as well. And we're doing a webinar on Monday about the dark side of youth sports. We just did a little roundtable on why does it get dark? What causes the toxicity? And maybe go into the girls' side of things and answer that one. What have you noticed? Whether that's travel ball, whether it's rec ball, maybe there's a difference between the two. But what causes the toxicity to seep in to our youth sports?
I think one on the girls' side specifically, it's very hard for women to support women, girls to support girls, and be actually genuinely happy about it. When you see someone who's working hard, or you may not see the hard work they put in off the field, but they show up and they have success on the field, instead of judging them for a good performance and maybe possibly having a better performance than you, look into what they're doing. Talk to them about, how can I be better? How can I put in extra work? What are you doing for that work? Instead of having some of that jealousy come in. And then I think some of that trickles into the families. Talk in the stands, parent jealousy. A lot of it that I'm seeing with youth sports is like scholarships. My kid's going to be the one that gets the scholarship on the team. Your kid's not. My kid's going D1. Your kid's going D3. They're kids. Like, I didn't think about my scholarship in college really till I was 16, maybe 15, turning 16. I knew I was a good athlete at 10, 12, but it wasn't something like I'm the best one and I'm going D1 and no one else on my team is. I want everyone else on my team to go D1 because that makes me better. So me personally, I always talk to my teammates to see what they're doing and working hard so I can get at that. But I think the positivity from the stands, that trickles down to the kids. So does the negativity in the stands. The kids hear it, whether it's in the car, whether it's at home on a phone call, it'll get to them. So trying to keep that positivity and like that work ethic there instead of the jealousy in women's sports and girls sports, I think is a huge factor.
I love that. Chopper, on the boys' side, let's go elite space. How do we get that positivity from the bleachers? What can a coach say? How can he get that culture right?
Yeah, it's just setting the expectation, and your culture is what you tolerate. So having those conversations with parents, when it rears its ugly head, have a one-on-one with that parent. But if you do it right, the other parents will kind of, keep protect your culture, protect the shield, so to speak. Some of the parents, for me, if they know that they might have an issue, they'll go out to the outfield and they'll just, they'll make sure that it's because body language can be read too, almost as big as the words or the yelling or the screaming. And so there'll be times when I'll see a parent head off to the outfield, and I'm proud of them because it's, their emotions are their emotions, but they're learning how to kind of piece it together to create that good environment for the kids.
Yep. Jim Henson said it. Kids don't remember what you teach them. They remember what you are. I did a post this morning about body language and tone and how important that is. So, practice it, parents. I mean, go in front of the mirror and watch your facial expressions as you say, "Come on, Jimmy, you can do it." And ask them, "Hey, son, daughter, what kind of fan should I be for you today in the game? When I speak, do you hear joy or do you hear anxiety? Like create a two-way street there." Flick Money, before we hit our listener questions, anything on your end as far as those bleachers go?
No, just the idea that, I mean, if you're for parents and coaches, if you're after peak performance, you want your players to play the best they can possibly play. We play our best when we're in a calm and relaxed, focused state. That flow state is there's a relaxation element to it. And it's hard to describe for people who have not been athletes. But what certainly doesn't put us into that state is that anxiety and all of that desire getting put into yelling and making a lot of noise, and that has that edge to it. It just doesn't work. And so if your end goal is peak performance, then maybe check out there's all kinds of great information to figure out some breathing exercises you can do, take a walk, get a 6-pack of cherry Pepsi, and a lawn chair and go sit somewhere up the line. Just find a way to work it for you, because I promise you, your player is going to perform at their peak when they know the love for me is unconditional, and this is a safe space for me to learn and make mistakes in. And making mistakes is part of the journey of becoming a peak performer. So that would be my last 2 cents there.
Yep. Your joy is detached from their results 100% of the time. I stole that from one Chad Chop, and I would love to steal his beard as well. Alligator, would you like to answer some listener questions with us? A little roundtable action?
Yeah, we got real quick time for me to speak on that last comment too.
Come on, bring it.
Awesome. From when I was growing up, I remember my mom wasn't able to make all the tournaments because she split between two kids. I went with other families. And I never once realized that my mom wasn't in the stands cheering for me because every teammate's parents were cheering for me. So I had family there. And back to what Chop was saying, that team culture with the parents, we talk about it where if you don't have something nice or you don't want to cheer for a kid, just cheer for your own kid. You don't have to not cheer for someone, cheer for your own kid, because there's other parents in the stands that are cheering for other people's kids and supporting them. And that's at the end of the day is what I always remember is maybe my mom wasn't there. I know she was supporting me from afar, but all the other parents in the stands made it feel like my family was there. And that's huge.
Beautiful culture, family, community. I know the pups are building that in Tucson, Arizona. Rock and roll, brother. By the way, I'm going to Arizona in less than a week. We've got a Chandler, Arizona sandlot on the 12th. Coach Flick Money, maybe he'll share why he can't make that one. But I'm bringing Coach Pterodactyl, and we're gonna rock and roll. Um, uh, Flick Money, will that be a tease for the end of this episode? What do you think?
Yeah, coach, let's hold that one off. That's big news.
That's big. That's bigger than most. It's definitely big news. So yeah, hang on for that one. We have diligently gone down the line of every question you've posed via email or on my Instagram messages. If you have a question, send it to at Coach Ballgame's DMs. I will copy and paste it into our text thread here, and this next one comes from Illinois. Um, I have a baseball issue that is keeping me up at night. My fourth grade son has played in our local league since he was 5. He's now 10. I will just be blunt as not to waste your time. He is usually about the worst player on the team. He has a hard time making contact with the ball. Now that it's kid pitch, strikes out most of the time. He's usually put in the outfield and does fine when the ball occasionally gets to him. He doesn't have a huge passion for the game. He does for soccer. He doesn't want to practice much baseball, though. He wants to keep playing because all his friends play. Most of them are now part of a travel team as they're just at a different level. I think it has transitioned away from being a social thing for these kids. They're really focused on the game, practicing a lot, playing on travel teams, etc. It's a really big time commitment for all involved. Um, we also have another son in sports, and they both do soccer, flag football as well. We don't want to commit to anything longer. We don't see a lot of value in him continuing to play, all things considered. We also don't want to force him to quit. Any advice on how to approach this situation? A lot of times we pose a question, we don't have much context. We've got a lot here, so who's ready to fire away here? Who's feeling it? Ready, set, Coach Flikke.
Vulnerability salute for this parent. I know, thank you for sharing your experience with us. And just heart goes out to you and to the player. I just, especially as a 10-year-old, I believe in him directing his own experience at this point. So if he's willing to go out there and struggle and be on the struggle bus. I understand it's probably hard for you and you don't want to see him go through it, but if it's something that he's willing to do or they're willing to do, then let's get behind them. Maybe a private lesson. Maybe there's some things you can add to a couple of logs you can throw on the fire that might fan some success. But I would just say if it's something that he's willing to do, you don't, being the person to be the sounding board when he wants to talk about it. Be the sounding board. I think your instinct is right, in my opinion. I don't know that I would go at him and say, "Let's be honest, buddy. This is just not your gift," because stranger things have happened. Sometimes hand-eye coordination kicks in, a little late for these kids. So
Yeah. Chopper, what do you got?
Yeah, just be supportive. If he wants to play, he wants to play. And if he doesn't want to practice, he doesn't want to practice a whole lot. So he's happy to just be there to participate. It's a rec league. So I would echo what Flick said. If he wants to do it and he's okay with it, I'm good with it too. I can say this. We had a couple kids this last year in Little League that started off where a lot of things were tough for him, but we were able to coach him and help him and give him some kind of cues. I will say this for the dad, start being aware of where he's missing. If he's consistently missing under the baseball, there's a couple really easy things that you can share with him. One being just try to miss above. If you're missing under, let's just try to miss above or try to hit a hard ground ball back to the pitcher's feet. And sometimes that little thought can really trigger some contact and some solid contact. So there are little things you can do, but just make sure everything is underlying with unconditional love. And he's 10 and he wants to keep playing Little League. That's what it's for.
Yeah, I think he's old enough to be posed the question, do you love this thing like you love soccer? because there's a great life lesson here of, okay, this is a different level, and I'm going to need to spend more time working on this thing to keep up with everybody else. He loves soccer. Do you love this as much as soccer? Are you willing to go take that private lesson? Because there's a little chicken and the egg deal here. Like, is one improvement in the technique gonna improve his joy, or does does he need that joy to actually go that extra mile and take a few lessons or practice more? So I think it's worth the conversation. Alligator, what hits you on this?
I think it's really great that the kid is passionate about sports. I mean, you listed flag football, soccer, and baseball he has fun with. Multi-sport athletes are always great when they're kids. And again, they're still young. There's no need to hyper focus on one sport right away. My question back to the family and the kid would be, how much time and practice do you put into soccer? And is that why you enjoy it? And if potentially, like you said, putting a little extra work into baseball would help you enjoy it more, or if you're there because you enjoy hanging out with your friends and you can continue to work and deal with working. But again, ask your friends the questions. Hey, what are you doing to get better? What are you doing to help you with this? So really digging in to find where that passion is, like you said, figure out what the kid is excited for. But I think a little game of Pepper with the friends is also good hand-eye coordination. You get the boys together, hang out at the park. Plenty ways to spin that, but definitely I would think about asking how much time and effort do they put into soccer to enjoy that.
Yep, it's good. Ultimately, the life lessons gained from these tough decisions and overcoming adversity, they're valuable, more valuable than his playing career. So, vulnerability salute once again for this dad in Illinois. Next one comes from a league president. I'm the president of our local Little League. Listen to every single episode of the podcast. Thank you, gentlemen, for that. Attaboy. Listener salute to you, Coach, wherever you may be. President of our local Little League, and we live by the motto that we are in the business of building world-class humans through the sport of baseball and softball. Average 700 kids plus each season. Every season, we get coaches that have the wrong priorities when it comes to teaching these kids. What advice do you have in getting all our coaches on the same page of loving and supporting these children in their journey? Well, first of all, it starts at the top, and you're what a blessing to your community. You're the president of the Little League, and you're seeing it the right way. You see priority one is create great humans. So thank you for listening to this pod and trying to spread that message. I mean, this before we go roundtable on this one, jump into the playbook and jump into our online course. Me, Chopper, and Flikke, we have an online course that we're launching in the next few weeks, and it's the psychology of coaching. It's all the skills you'd ever need to teach all of these kiddos, and we have a league pass where you can get a huge group rate where it's basically nothing for these coaches to get a curriculum. So, I mean, that's a no-brainer. That league pass drops March 5 with everything. So jump on that. But before I send it over to Chopper, win small to win big. Lead by example. Embrace those small wins. You're not going to change 50 coaches at a time, but you could change one at a time. Eat the elephant one bite at a time. But we ran into this last year when we did our playbook, is all of these coaches and league presidents took the course, loved it, and then they're like, but how do I get the rest of my community on the same page? So, Chopper, what's your advice to this league president?
Yeah, it starts with the playbook and then just highlight the coaches that are doing it right. And sometimes that can be pretty awesome because maybe the coach of the year isn't the coach who won league the wrong way, but it's the coach who prioritized character and fun and fundamentals and high baseball IQ, and just it's a birthday party every time they practice or play a game. And that's how you can do it. We talk about this a lot. I learned it from you, Coach Ballgame, where you celebrate what you appreciate and not necessarily what's going wrong. You don't draw attention to the kid who's not listening. You give a baseball card to the kid who's giving you eye contact and who's listening and just doing kind of dialed in. So give that baseball card to the coach that's doing it right. And it's not like you shun the coach that's not doing it right. You love him and you try to bring him along slowly and celebrate the small wins. But I would highlight those coaches that are doing it the way that we all know is the most important.
Yeah, I know this podcast is going to be valuable until we're no longer alive because there's going to be a new crop of T-ball coaches and young coaches that just they're coaching like we started out coaching, angry about the win. Let's make the next Mike Trout. And it's not about that at all. So, yeah, Flick money. Pass it over to you. League president advice.
Yeah, Coach. Um, it's difficult to integrate new learning and translate that to new folks, especially if they haven't done the learning alongside you. So if you can't get them all to the playbook, how do you then get them on board? Well, it's you're going to have to. It's a long-term question. You're going to have to work on it in multiple levels. And I would say the coaches that are really struggling with the priorities, it's obvious that they're prioritizing the things that are going to cause harm. That's going to have to be some one-on-one intervention time. We talk about that a lot, how to have an intervention with an adult. It's got to start with a relationship. You're going to have to build some trust with that person. Um, but if you're looking for a tool, the playbook and all the stuff that we're talking about, they are assuming that the players that are coming to each of these teams have a certain baseline of wellness. In other words, there's a thing in psychology known as Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and it basically says none of us can thrive at any level unless our needs are being met. There's a foundation of our physiological needs. Obviously, we need air, we need water, we need food, we need sleep. Then there's a level above that. That's some psychological needs that we have for safety, for knowing that we're okay. And you have to address each of these needs in a very specific way in order for people to be able to take in learning. And so I think if you can bust that out as a tool, you could print one off and sit down with this coach and say, hey, I love your competitiveness. I love how you want to see the kids succeed. It's obvious how much you care about the game, but we have to meet a couple of these kids' needs for some psychological safety, that it's okay for them to make a mistake. That's the only way they're going to be able to attain these higher levels of, what we would call self-actualization, becoming their fullest, best self. They have to have some sense of wellness and safety within the structure of the team. And frankly, what I would say if I were you, league president, to a coach who's having trouble with this, frankly, we need some improvement here in this strata right here, which is the psychological safety and well-being. And I know that's not your intention. I can tell by no one spends this much time hitting ground balls to kids if they don't care, but it's not translating as care. So we need to address this. Now, what you're going to get the pushback from coaches like this is, oh, soft. This is, participation trophies. This is the way of the world. You're going to get that pushback. And you're going to say, no, this is actually hard science at this point. We know exactly how people thrive. And, when we talk about old school coaching in the 1950s and 60s, the way that our dads were raised, and then they did, and our old coaches, that was a time when the family structure and the economy, we had the biggest middle class in the history of Earth. There was a lot of jobs, there was a lot of manufacturing jobs, people in these cities that are now really struggling. There was a lot of work, so families were doing better. So a lot of these needs were being met at home. So when a kid came and played on your team, you could yell and scream and air them out. Bobby Knight could throw chairs at people and hit them in the side of the head. And there was a basis of well-being that they could receive that coaching and receive that as, care and love. But if that stuff isn't happening and it's happening less and less, we're in the split between rich and poor is widening, a lot of unmet needs for kids at home. And so they come to our field And we have to be some of that. This is a new era of coaching where you are a coach. Yes, you are a mentor. You're a teacher. In some cases, as Allie pointed out, you're part of a parent for a young person who might that day needs an adult in their life to be that person. So that's a long way of saying, Coach, one tool would be to kind of, you have to do some education about what is happening, and why it's important. And Maslow, Maslow, hierarchy of needs, you can print them off and have this conversation.
Scholar salute, Coach. I always tell coaches at my coaches clinics, this may be the most thankless job you ever have, but the most impactful for the good or the bad. So act accordingly. The bad picture gets painted in a kid's brain just as quickly and maybe more clearly than the good one. So you can change a life with this job you have. Allie Gator, what advice do you have for this league president?
Yeah, I think the president sounds like he's on a great path to setting these kids up for success in multiple fields, not just on the baseball field. I would think that hosting coaches clinics, coaches meetings, as simple as a Zoom with the coaches, talk about different practice strategies, talk about rotating the kids, keeping them going, maybe the language or the way we approach the kids. Like you said, my place of safety was at home, at school, and the ball field. I always knew that when I was at those three places, I'm good. I don't have to worry about anything. I yell mom in the stands. 10 moms look at me and say, what do you need? And it was usually every mom but my own. And so creating that culture of really having everyone on the same page from your 14U team all the way down to your kid pitch 6U T-ball team. There shouldn't be any big changes in the way the coaches present themselves, in the way they present the game, and the way they represent the league overall.
Love it, Alligator. This will be the best advice you get all day. Any league president or board member, order a bunch of pizzas and have all of your coaches congregate Monday night, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 Eastern, for a free webinar with us. And we're going to clean all this darkness up and help your coaches know how to change lives for the better. And all that toxic stuff, all that yelling, we're going to shine a light on it, and we're going to give you tools to fix it. So come on. I'm not selling anything. It's free. So just do it. Michael Jordan, Nike, not a sponsor. Next question. My 7-year-old berates his teammates. There's no smooth segue into that, and there's no context here. This is just my 7-year-old berates his teammates. Help, with a couple exclamation points. So, Flick Money writing the book on this sort of thing. This outlier, this kid that for one reason or another, trauma or the way things are shaped at their house, they act out. So I want to start with you, Flick Money. 7-year-old berates his teammates. Go.
Yeah, well, we have to be careful of the assumptions we make. Sometimes that can come from a deficiency in needs being met in their life, but sometimes you have a wonderful parents, loving family. Kid just comes, and for whatever reason, that's how they're wired. There's a deeply sensitive system, a very insecure being way underneath who not having success grinds them so hard, so quickly. It's like then they don't have a filter yet. It just up and out, and they're yelling at whoever they can because I think deeply there's a fear that it reflects badly on them. And so we've talked about this over and over. If it's just wiring that way, this is a long-term growth opportunity. And it's not going to happen overnight. But we really need to engage this young person helping him think through what's on the other side of this. You're not going to get to them when they're in this agitated state. They're not going to hear you. But when they're calm and relaxed away from it, we need to talk through, ask them some questions. Here's the questions I would ask them. How do you feel when someone makes a mistake? Be honest, right? Is irritated, angry? How do you feel when you make a mistake? Okay, similar, some similar type feelings. Okay, would it be helpful for you if someone screamed at you when you made a mistake? Would you find that helpful? Or how would that feel? And try to make the connection. So, how do you think your teammates feel, and what do you think would be helpful for them when they make a mistake? Now, it doesn't mean he's just going to be like light bulb. Oh, I got it. Now I'm going to have control over my emotions. But we need to start setting a North Star of understanding, and hopefully over time, that neural pathway connects up and gets met for them. But this is a tough one because we've talked about this personality a lot, the super sensitive, hypercritical, perfectionist. I resonate with this from when I was little, and it's really a maturity thing. It takes a lot of time, and it's tricky. It just does not happen overnight. So be patient. This is where patience is going to be a huge benefit for everyone involved.
Yeah, I learned this from you, Flikke, watching you in action with this type of kid. I never have and didn't just then hear 1 ounce of judgment in your tone as you were asking those questions. That's the key. If you've got baggage, if you've got insecurity, if you've got anger, and when it comes to this certain topic, you're not ready to ask those questions to that kid. Make sure there's zero judgment, and a lot of love and empathy. Just swamped with empathy when you ask these questions. If you fight fire with fire, non-productive. I think it goes backwards. Chaparooski, the berating of teammates.
Yeah, everything Flick said, and I would add, hey, little man, this tells me you care, which is great, but like I need you to care more about being a good teammate or your teammates' emotions or like helping them navigate failure. So, and a 7-year-old's, that's going to be tricky for him. But you just kind of planting that North Star, like Flick said, and then having an action plan of like, hey, dude, here's the deal. Like, we love you and it's unconditional love. But if you keep doing this, this is how we're going to address it. Maybe it'll be a minute outside of the dugout and giving you a chance to kind of cool off. If it continues, maybe it'll be, hey, we're going to send you home that day. Doesn't mean we don't love you. In fact, it's the opposite. It's not a punishment, it's a privilege that we're going to help you work towards understanding that this isn't something that we do. Even at 7, we're not going to yell and scream at a teammate who makes a mistake. So, yeah, try to get to the root of it and then have an action plan and help him to understand, like, even at your age, how we treat people really matters. And especially in crisis. I mean, crisis is an overstatement, but through failure, you need your teammate or your brother or your sister to be there for you and to pat you on the back and say, it's going to be okay. I can't wait to see how you respond. Or, hey, I got you. I'm coming up next. I'm going to pick you up because I love you and I love this game. And I can't wait to help you in this moment.
Love that too. I used to shame the disruptive. I used to shame that type of kid. What's wrong with you? Go into the other dugout. Go take that lap. And everybody watch him as he gets embarrassed for his actions. I don't know why I came out of the gate like that, but I learned with great mentors. Uh, be annoyingly praiseful to the good. That's a great way to build culture out of the gates. And that might be the one tool that kid needs. He needs to just see kids giving high fives for good effort. He needs to see coaches giving fist bumps to the kid that just made a mistake, going, I've made a mistake too. He may just need to see a grown up be vulnerable and say, yeah, I used to be that. I used to have that quality. That's a great quality when it matures. You're going to be a winner. But right now it's hurting others' feelings. Uh, uh, Here's what I tried. And maybe that's all he needs is the Superman cape to come off for the coach. Allie Gator, what you got?
Yeah, so like Chop said, sports is a privilege. You don't just get to be out there because you want to. It's an earned spot on a team. Um, Baseball's a team sport. You can't just play one person on a field in 9 different positions to win a game. So if the one player who's getting frustrated continues to single themselves out like that and want to possibly be by themselves, it's not going to work in the game of baseball. And that's probably the last thing that kid wants to do is leave the sport. Um, Simplest form, if the needs outside, like Flick was saying, if all those needs are being met and things are good at home and the kids being fed and sleep getting plenty of that, school, education, has friends, maybe it could be as simple as a couple team bonding activities at practice. Throw that water balloon back and forth, see what teammates and pair in your team can go the furthest. Play some duck, duck, goose, try and bring that team together, because at the end of the day, it's not just one player on a baseball field. It's 9 plus possibly the other 3, 4, 5 kids in the dugout that make up that team culture.
It's awesome. It's just as helpful for the other 10 to understand how to cope and deal with this situation than it is for the one overcoming sadness or adversity. Again, it's just a big geyser of life lessons that you're able to navigate and help them navigate through life with. So you're not going to notice this. This coach obviously has their priorities in place. They're noticing the berating. They're not totally focused on a win or skill development. You can overlook these types of things if your priorities aren't in place. So it's a good one. It's a good one. What if I have a child that shows no emotion for the game, but tells me he loves and continues to want to play? I want him to have more passion to learn and better himself. So, mixed messages coming here from the child. Shows no emotion with the actions, but says, I love the game and want to continue. So, um, who wants to start this one off? Yeah, I see
Question:
it.
Is this coming from a parent, coach?
This
This is a
is
parent
this
saying
is
about my child.
this seems to be what if I have a child? Yeah. Um, not specific. So maybe we hit both on you're the coach of this child or you're the parent. I would say if you're the coach, a one-on-one with the parent is a good first step. Um, and maybe have them go back a few questions and have a little discussion with the son or daughter. Hey, do you love this thing? Because if you love it as much as you love video games, then you're going to have to spend just as much time on it. So, yeah, let's say it is the mom and dad. Flick money.
Yeah, Chopper has more experience down this road than I do, but I would just say, um, as a parent, I really feel that our role is more of a support role to allow them to learn how to fall in love with something and how to navigate, all of that it takes to become an athlete, to become a baseball player in this case, um, and rely on the coaches, to do the motivating. Because if it comes, well, we've heard so many times the story that when it's the parent who's trying to push and motivate and stoke a fire, oftentimes it starts to derail the relationship between the parent and the child, and we don't want that. So to love them up, continue to support them. Now, would I have a conversation with the coach and be like, hey, you got my blessing. You can light anything you need to help light a little bit of a fire, because inadvertently we've created a much more comfortable world, year over year, generation after generation. We're getting more and more comfortable. So I think a lot of kids may not just know how to, and a lot of these kids now they were little during COVID, so they were inside a lot. So it's just like how to let your heart out and love something so deeply, and part of that is learning how to be uncomfortable, and we've talked about that a lot. It's baseball and softball, it's a great teacher for discomfort. So I would just say to the coach, hey, we got your back, coach. You want to light a fire and do some things to push them out of their comfort zone, we are all about it here.
Bang. Chopper, what do you got?
Yeah, actions speak louder than words. So if you have an athlete who says he wants to do it, but then shows no interest with his actions, and I can speak to that with Two out of my four boys, two are all in. They're the guys that are going to wear the uniform to bed, and be begging you, hey, when are we going to practice? When are we going to practice? When can we go to the field? When can we go practice? They'll drive it, and I've got two other ones that are kind of unicorn butterflies that are going to kind of do whatever they want, and that's great too. That includes there's times when they say they don't want to go, they don't want to go to practice. We don't go to practice, and that I'm not saying that's the right way to do it. But I just, to Flick's point, like if you drive it as the parent nonstop and force kids to go do stuff, like you can do that. And if you're like my family, we've got four kids and a lot of moving parts. You're just going to add stress to your life. Or you can listen to your kid. And I can tell you from my view, it's less stressful when you don't go to the 6-year old flag football practice that your kid wants nothing to do with. Um, and yeah, so I've let my kids kind of drive it. And once again, not saying that's the right way. Flick's going to know the science behind whether or not that's a good idea. But that's how I've done it. And I've got two that are going to be really high level in baseball. And I've got two that are really, really high level in character and life. And they're great kids and they're well rounded. And so, yeah, that'd be my advice. Let the kid drive it. If he ain't driving it, you got to reassess. But just for a kid to say, like, oh, I love it, it's great, but then they do nothing, tricky. I would say actions speak louder than words, little man. Like, prove it. Like, are we going to go work on it outside of practice or are we not? And if we're not, you got to look at it a little closer.
Allie Gator.
Yeah, so I don't have kids, so different perspective from a coach's side. I had a girl who does work really hard, doesn't really show emotions during a game. When she lines out, she's not mad about it or she's not happy when she strikes a guy out. Um, and that was me as a player. So I really resonated with her. But then as a coach trying to get that, like, come on, give me something more. I can see you have it. Just get it out there, it was tough for me. And that's where, like Flick said, I was very thankful that the parents approached me and said, hey, coach, she loves this game. She is starting to put the work in on the side, but we're not really seeing that passion. That's like, I want to continue this for the rest of my life. She says she does, but we're just not seeing it. That's when we really focused in on positivity. And whether it was she makes an error or does something that we can adjust in practice, almost like the ice cream sandwich or an Oreo, you got positive, negative, positive. It's not necessarily negative, but something you can work on, constructive criticism. And it started kind of pushing her and fueling her of, well, I can do this. I can do more. I am a little bit better than I thought I was. So I was very happy for the blessing from that parent. And as a coach, it was frustrating to start because I want my girls to give it 100% when they're out there. And she might have been giving her 100% that she thought she had, maybe because she didn't feel like she could do better. So we really supported her and make those errors, push yourself. As a third baseman, if you don't cut that ball off, your shortstop's got your back. And if your shortstop's not there, your left fielder's got your back. So that was really big for us.
That's great, Allie. Yeah, I think be vulnerable and try and relate as best you can as a parent. And then as far as the motivation goes, pass that off to a coach. I love being the coach and having a parent come up to me and say, just not seeing the passion. I got you from here. You keep being their champion. You keep being their cheerleader. I got you. But when it comes to my daughters, if they want to quit something, I try to relate with them. I definitely feel irked by them starting something and not finishing it. So that's a tough one, and maybe that should be a different conversation. Where are we going to finish this thing out? Are we going to teach a lesson of it's okay to just quit on your teammates? We'll tease that one for another time. But as much as you can be the champion and the cheerleader and get as many vulnerability salutes as possible, my kids listen to me when I'm vulnerable and when I say, This is where I struggled in the same area. This is when I wanted to quit, but this is what had to happen for me to get to that place that I was talking about. And then for the X's and O's, pass it off to their dance coach, where they light up when they're around them, and they'll go to a different place. Last one, and then we'll hit the road. Um, my little one does great when she practices at home and hits just about every ball at the batting cage in her lessons. Game time, she hits nothing. She can't hit the ball during the games and then does nothing but beat herself up over it afterwards. I feel so bad because I've practiced with her and know she can swing and has timing down, but how do I help her get out of her head when it comes to game time? Great one to end on. Got to be incredibly relatable for every parent listening to this. Allie Gator, let's lead off with you on this one. This is a young lady who she's got it on the driving range, can't put it together on the course. What do you got?
It's frustrating. That's one of the most frustrating things is knowing you're putting that work in, knowing you're going to be successful, and then not seeing that success. Again, baseball, softball, 3 out of 10, you're a Hall of Famer. That's not a great success rate right there in terms of school testing. You'd fail every test. So I feel like having a mental preparation and some sort of preparation going into the box, that mantra, I am. I remember when I was little, one of my coaches told me, there's not one pitch that girl can throw that you can't hit. And I would step into the box and I'm like, there's not one pitch you can throw that I can't hit. And it gave me that confidence. And that was the same confidence I had in training, same confidence I had at practice. And it just took me a second to kind of click into the game. So really focusing in on some sort of mantra and training, putting that in, whether it's a breathing session, a quick breath, some sort of hand movement or wiggle, something where they can feel good going into the at bat.
Mantra. Love that. Going to use that next time I'm over a golf ball in a big tournament. I promote freedom to fail, and I use the term fall flat on your face. The kid is going to play better when they're feeling joy and they're feeling this freedom to fail. So I build that culture as a coach and as a parent. I just love watching you play. I love watching you win. I love watching you learn. I love watching you when you fail too, maybe even more. If you create that culture, they're going to perform better. I promise you that. So create as much space to fall flat on your face. That's what I would say. Chopper, great in practice, struggles in the game. What do you got?
Yeah, I would ask them what's their mental thoughts. So Allie brought up a great point. But like just ask them, hey, what are you thinking about? Is it, and let them answer. Almost willing to guarantee they're afraid to swing and miss. And then just create that, promote, hey, every time you swing and miss, you're one swing closer to that solid contact that we see every practice. And you just keep going. And like Longo said, if you don't quit, you can't be stopped. And just encourage them to like, hey, just do your very best and try to see the ball as well as you can and put the barrel on it and see it. And whatever happens, happens. Just know that I'm here to support you as a parent. I'm here to support you as a coach. And we know your ability. We know you're putting in the work and it's going to pay off. You don't have to stack great days to become great. You have to stack consistent days. And so just keep working, keep going, keep going, keep trying. Every swing and miss is that much closer to that solid contact that you really want. And you've shown you can do.
Love that. I say that every time I make a bad golf shot or I make a double bogey. I just got a little, I just got 1% better at
So much
golf
closer to
right there.
consistency.
It also made me think of can you normalize the game situation in a practice setting where you've got let's get some girls out there pitching as if it's game situation, but you're in practice and maybe she's not swinging, maybe she's just watching it out of the hand. But that experience goes a long way. So I would request, hey, Can we get a little game situation in practice? Maybe the coach is open to that, or you just have some friends that can pitch and catch, and you feel that in practice. That helped me a lot. And just also make sure they know it's very normal. Batting practice, that man, it seems easy to most, but a game, incredibly difficult. So let them know this is normal. Just like being afraid of getting hit by a pitch in a game. Very, very normal. You don't feel that off of a tee or in batting practice. So, Flick Money, close us up on this one.
I love what you said. I'm going to piggyback, coach. Replicate game intensity in practice as best you can. Because what you can't do in a less hitting lesson, what you can't do in the cages is replicate the intensity of the desire to do well. Because that desire coming from within the player causes them to get up in their head. Usually, 99% of young hitters who struggle in games, they react too soon. Their bodies start to react too early to what the pitcher's doing. The ball's not there yet. Then their hands kind of drag behind to try to time the whole thing out. Now their swing's taking visually this long where they need it to take this long. And there's not a lot of lock in and focus on the ball. So create game reps and practice. That can be competitive BP scenarios, live BP scenarios out of the hand, kids cheering on the cage, do some competitive stuff. Hey, 1 point if you hit it up the middle, right? Some stuff where they have to focus in the same way that they do in the game. We want to train that. And the flip side is true. How can we teach them to make the game reps similar to practice reps? And we do that by teaching them how to breathe and how to use a mantra. Allie, it's awesome. I love that. How to put a good thought in and how to calm the body down. For smell the pizza for 4 seconds, blow out the birthday candles for 6. Let's get that heart rate down. Let's get them calm so that they can actually see the ball really well. And then the last thing I would say, and this is just like a training tool, when we take batting practice live BP, I would put a ball maybe 3 feet in front of home plate, like on the ground, and say, you're not going to start your swing until the ball reaches this ball. Because they're just the young hitters, they just start early and then they drag the hands. They're so excited to be out there in a game and hitting. So we need them to giving them a little visual marker of that's how long you're going to wait before you even start. You're way faster than you realize. So we're going to wait there. So make game reps practice like, make practice reps game like. And if you need to give them a little visual tool for when they're going to start their swing, that's going to speed it up. And typically contact will start flying.
Man, I'm always a better person. I make better choices. I have better thoughts when I'm around you. Great to add Allie Gator to the mix this week. Eye black salute,
Atta
indeed,
girl.
and add a girl. She messaged me yesterday, willing to help. This Saturday, the West Pasadena Little League is basically opened their fields for the Altadena Little League, whose fields burnt down in the LA area. Most of their families are displaced. So we're throwing a party in Pasadena. I'm going to do a camp, and Allie Gator wanted to join and just create some normalcy and joy for these families. Super fired up about that. We raised a ton of money for these families in our MLK camp just a few weeks ago. I am excited to show my daughters kind of the hands and feet of goodness. Like, this is what it looks like, service. This is Clemente. This is what life's all about. So they'll join. So thank you, Allie, for being willing to help out there. That's going to be awesome. And they have a GoFundMe page, this Little League. So I'll post it to my bio and my Instagram for any of you that want to help these families and this Little League. I'll create that link in my Instagram bio. So that's that. Flick Money, we'll close with your surprise. It's an exciting couple of weeks coming up. What's happening in the world of Coach Flick Money?
Coach, uh, on Valentine's Day, I went with the ultimate Valentine's present idea. My beloved Sarah and I will be getting married on Valentine's Day, uh, locally here Yeah, it's going to be just exciting. Lots of plans in
Bum,
the works.
bum, ba bum,
Yeah, we'll do a much
bum,
bigger,
bum, ba
bum,
bum.
bum. Yeah, we're going to do a much bigger celebration for everybody in the summertime, but we wanted to get this done and bring in this year with some deep family vibes. So very excited, Coach. And yeah, sorry I won't be with you at Arizona. Also not sorry.
Oh, Miss Sarah, as sweet as they come, and she has never heard of the Tedeschi Trucks Band or Little Feat, but she had the most fun when we went to that concert this summer, and she is just the sweetest. So, my congratulations to you both. Yeah, enjoy that, soak it up. To all our listeners, thank you. To all our Patreon patron supporters, thank you. Coach Allie, for joining today, thank you. Chopper, you leave us with something beautiful today, my man. What do you got?
Well, excited for Flake Money and excited for the beginning of the high school season officially in Arizona, February 10th. So it is on the race to May 19th. Promise the boys, I can't guarantee a state championship, but I can guarantee a state championship ride. Bang.
Hello, bang, spoken with a mouth full of
Full of
wonderful
seeds.
seeds. Bye bye.
It doesn't get any better than this.